Loveland artist Lehr Daly has departed from her usual art form of creating sculpture inspired by nature.
My work tends to be a little, I would call it like abstract organic. It's not classical in any sense. It's kind of a derivative of things that I see when I'm out walking or things that I see from the water. So it's kind of like a riff on an acorn or a riff on coral. It just depends. It's things that I see will inspire me, and it's like, oh man, I can see me doing this in, whatever format. I know that the organics world appealed to me, seed pods and tree branches and natural organic things just kind of appealed to me. We back up to 22 acres of woods, which are great to walk through, that have a creek down at the bottom. With my walks, it's a lot of seed pods or sometimes really interesting branches that have things growing on them. Even if it's like a really interesting fungal thing, I just find those things really interesting. I have a welder. I have a torch, propylene torch. I use the propylene torch to heat the steel, to bend it, to curl it, to do whatever, and the welder obviously to weld pieces together. If I have a clear idea in mind of, usually I do when I start working, it's usually not just in there hammering for fun, but usually I'm paying attention to shape and form. There are pieces that I've done where I have steel as the main component, which may be like a branch of a tree, a limb, which kind of grows out and then holds a recycled glass bowl that has this lovely green hue to it that really complements the steel in color, but also complements the steel with the opacity of the glass with the solidness of the steel. A lot of it for me is experimenting, and there's a lot of joy in experimenting with stuff. And then as you get more comfortable with that medium, it just kind of takes you to different places, or you grow in its use and you push those limits and you know what you can do. Recently, I started a project that was a big departure from my usual work, and that was casting faces for an exhibit that has to do with the pandemic, featuring face masks from the collection of Sarah Vance Waddell here in Cincinnati, who's collected face masks from artists around the world. And I had this light bulb moment when I thought, God, it would really be cool to create actual faces for these masks to go on. And so I started researching and found appropriate materials to use. I reached out to Sarah, and she was on board.
I am an art collector. I collect art by women and artists of color. And during this COVID pandemic, it affected everyone in a different way. And for me, I wanted to collect masks. I was seeing on Facebook and Instagram that artists were making masks, and they were pretty cool. Out of me wanting to collect masks, Lehr Daly, the sculptor, got her idea of doing the face castings of live people, which have been pretty traumatic and dramatic, and I was part of that. My wife and I were part of doing castings with her. So we decided together we should try to have some kind of exhibition and collaborate, and the mask we wear is the collaboration that came forth.
I was applying the skin-safe silicone to their faces, followed by plaster bandages that would become the mother mold. And then into that, once that would set up, and that would take about 24 hours to dry, into that negative, I would put sculpting compound to create the positive of the face, and then I would remove the positive, and I would paint it and wax it, and then it was ready to go. There are learning curves to any time you introduce a new medium, a new way of doing things. It's both exciting and frightening, but when you get to that point where you feel like, I got it, and I know enough to get by and keep learning, it's fabulous. There's nothing better. The relevance of this current exhibition, because of COVID-19 and the pandemic, even going forward, we're hoping that this exhibition travels. We'd like to see it travel because of what we're dealing with, the subject that we're dealing with, the wearing of face masks or the not wearing of face masks is relevant everywhere.
Some of our masks in the show are protest masks, some are Black Lives Matter masks, and with everything going on right now, We're hoping that this exhibition gives people an outlet to come out, to be socially distanced, to have their masks on, to be as safe as possible, but to be able to see some art and art of our times right now, because a lot of these masks are sculptural. They look like art pieces.
One thing that I've said is that there's beauty in chaos. I think the one thing that we have found through all of this is that when the pandemic came to the United States, we found that the regular blue medical grade masks were something that we kind of put our own spin on it. We started being creative. We came up with more creative ways to express ourselves. The masks have become an accessory. And I think because they've become an accessory to our everyday lives, what we wear, who we are, we had to express ourselves through those masks. What I want people to get out of my work is not only joy, but also would love for it to provide conversation. Have people ask the question, what were you trying to do? What does this say? What does it say to you? And I think when it resonates with someone, I think that's just like the best feeling, because that means that they love it, they get it, they enjoy it, and it provides them with happiness and joy when it's in their home or in their garden or wherever it is.